Harper here, WWE2k19. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at custom match types. Finally! They've released the patch that sorts out the elimination match issue. I have been waiting for this since day one. I was shocked. I almost cried my eyes out when I found out that you could not add elimination match options when creating match types. It hurt me inside. My soul died a little. It was painful. But now that that's all been sorted, for the in this whole process dealing with 2K support, I provided a ticket for the issue and they responded almost immediately. I actually added was the elimination match type issue, and they got back to me straight away and they said, we know about the issue and it's going to be resolved in the next patch. And lo and behold, I didn't actually believe that they would do it. Such is my sort of cynicism of WWE2k and the way that they develop and these patches and fix games. They've never done it right in the past, and I guess I'm never going to trust them 100%, but they did pull through on this one. They delivered with their promise. Ryan, or whatever your name is from 2K support, thank you for telling me the truth for once. It is a nice surprise to get a patch and actually have the main thing that I wanted sorted within it. So what that means for me as a gamer is that I can now create all the match types that I want on the game. I think I tweeted it at the time. I was like, without the elimination option, and I'm talking for singles matches, like for, you know, non-tag matches, what it did for me, it eliminated effectively half of the amount of options I had to create wrestling match types. So what I've done, I've now gone in and created a whole bunch. I've got this one massive spreadsheet document that covers my whole WE2k19, well, any of my 2K games for WE, and within that I created a match type section, created a little tab, did tick boxes, and I decided I'm going to make all of the big matches that I'm going to use in my universe mode and beyond, so that I don't have to keep creating the same stuff that I really love to do. So what I'm going to do today is quickly go through it with you, though I know I always say that and it ends up being long anyway. So buckle up, let's get ready for this. Okay, I haven't done them in alphabetical order, but there is a system. I am a sort of semi-organised person, and when I want to be, I can be overly organised, and I think that this is a perfect illustration of that. So, what I've got, I'm going to start with the example of the top one, and then use that to give you the example of what I do and what I mean when I sort these match types out. It just makes it a bit easier for the game, and it could be a bit of a tip for you guys when you're creating match types, just to make sure that you organize it in such a way that it's easy to find the match that you want to use as quickly as possible without having to trawl through 50 created options. I'm going to do a quick scroll first. You can see that I've actually made a lot of matches. There's literally 5 slots left for me to create, and I think I'll explain what I'm going to use those for, hopefully, if I remember at the end of this video. So, first off, handicap, that is the actual match itself. So who does it involve? How many participants? So you can see handicap, you can see singles, there's tag team somewhere on here, there's TT, which is tornado tag, and then there's three-man tag, there's three-way, 4-way and 4-man tag. So that's how I differentiate between the singles and the tag team. Tag team, I always try and put the word tag in, obviously, and for the singles style matches, I always just put whatever number followed by the word way, and that always helps me differentiate between the two types. So that goes all the way up to 8-way matches. But let's go through them now. So the next bit, handicap, then you've got the match type. Okay, so in this situation it's a 1v2, that's the match type. And then finally you've got the W rules match is a perfect example of this. Obviously the amount of people involved, it's a singles match. Then you've got the match type, it's a cage match, and then you have the stipulation, which is WCW rules, which means I'll go. In fact, let me go through these. I think the first two are obvious. I basically use these as like gauntlet mode. They're like a mini gauntlet mode. Usually I use this mode with Goldberg in WCW. I'll throw in free jobbers, or let's say the NWO Hollywood of Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton, Vincent, and or Brutus Beefcake, aka The Disciple. And I'll throw those guys in against Goldberg. He'll mash them all to pieces within about 5. Just the kind of robust 2-minute squash match. So it helps take Goldberg's match types up. I think WCW should have actually done that in real life. It would have been a great way of giving a bit more longevity to Goldberg's matches, but also giving him more in-ring experience as well, because he would have been in the ring longer. He would have had to have dealt with different styles of wrestler, and I think it would have been good for him just to start showing off and learning more about the business in one match. You know, that's the beauty of this, is it's a one match hit. You don't have to have 3 consecutive matches to match the streak, but you can just have one and then deal with 3 different guys in one match. It makes it more fun. So let's go on to these. I think the 1v2, I always go with tag elimination. It's much more fun. So that explains those two. They're very self-explanatory. So let's move on to what I mean by WCW rules. So you've got singles cage, and then the idea of WCW rules is that it's based around the Ric Flair. It's actually more NWA than it is WCW, but they carried it over into WCW with Ric Flair. So it's the idea of a 60-minute time limit. So it's not an Iron Man match. It's a 60-minute time limit match within a cage, pin only. You can't escape the cage other than by winning by pinfall. So that's the stipulation, and that's a very old style match. I will talk about cage match settings at some point, because I think there's something interesting. In fact, let's edit this one so you can see what I've done. You can see it's pin only, 60 minutes, no running. Now, what I love that they've added is the steel cage type. This is back. I think it was here last year, but it's only been in the last couple of years. It was back in 2K16, I think, or 15 or 14, and then they removed it, and then they brought it back. So you've got the black, this is the steel cage that I use for WCW, because that emulates the cell structure that WCW used to love. WCW, remember, they had a different steel cage to WE. WE had either this one, the blue one, or more recently, in the Attitude Era, they had the black one. And then, just wanted to let you know about this, the Scrap Trap from the My Career mode. I haven't even played My Career, and I probably won't. I never do on WE games. It's really boring and dull to me. Basically, the Scrap Trap is a cage that's been put together by loads of cheap cages, from what I understand. ECW, WCW, they make all these references in the My Career mode about it, but WCW never really used these cages, which is an interesting thing that I think My Career just completely gets wrong from the bit that I've seen anyway. But anyway, it's an extra cage type, so I'm not complaining about it wherever it's from. But obviously I use the generic one. Now, when I've done Elimination Chamber matches, it says that there's a type, but I've never, even in Hell in a Cell matches, I've never been able... Sorry, even in the Elimination Chamber matches, I've not been able to change them yet. So I'm going to go through that and look later and see what's the deal. Now, that's it. I accept that. That's done. I'm not going to go through that with everyone, because this will become an hour video, and you guys do not deserve to put up with my voice for that long. So, singles cage... 2 out of 3 falls. Again, that's submission or pinfall, but the idea, the premise, the stipulation is that it's 2 out of 3. I love that one. I use it all the time. Singles first blood. This is the Kane Stone Cold angle, where you've got a ridiculous man in a mask who, how could he possibly bleed from his face, against a bald guy who's got more skin showing than a naked baby match. Anyway, first blood's there. I like it. It's a good way of throwing up some stipulations every now and then. I don't use it often. I could have done this with every single mode, but I just decided singles is the one that I tend to use the most frequently. I have done some really cool first blood match types. Elimination 4-way first blood matches. They're really fun matches, because it's just... you're beating everybody down until everyone's in a bloody mess. But obviously... Every time somebody's bleeding, they're eliminated. It just makes it a bit fun and different and whatever. Maybe it's not for you guys, but it is for me. Singles hardcore, 2 out of 3. Now, there's a problem here with WE, what they've done, and they might need to patch this, and it's something I might message them about. You cannot set, and I repeat, you cannot set disqualification settings on match types that are hardcore. Well, any match type that's more than a singles match. So if I want a freeway match, there is no DQ automatically set, and you cannot change it, which essentially means that firstly, you can't have clean match types. You can't have a freeway elimination match with a clean match. It's qualification. So what I've done is, when I say hardcore, what I mean by that is that I've added no falls count anywhere stipulation, as well as the no DQ rule. Okay, so it's full on hardcore mode. But some of the elimination types, and I'll go through it later, just don't. They have DQ. There's nothing I can do about it unless WE patch it. Tag team matches, elimination matches, by the way, you can adjust the DQ settings. So I do believe that it's an issue within the game that they haven't resolved. Anyway, singles Hell in Iron Man. I love this. Just to let you know, all of my Iron Man matches are 60-minute matches. Enjoy that. Hell in the Cell, to me, there's a lot you can do. In my universe mode, I usually use them as squash matches, which sounds ridiculous, but when you think back to the original Hell in the Cell, it was a squash match. Undertaker, Mankind, the match was, I don't even think it officially started, and it was over. And that's kind of my point. The Hell in the Cell is there for effect rather than for longevity. So what I want to do is challenge the status quo of that, and I go for the full-on 60-minute Iron Man, because there are so many spots you can add to. You can have so much fun going through and on top of the cage, throwing them off the cage, beating the heck out of each other. It's just one of those matches I think you can realistically over the course of an hour. However, somebody's body after it's been thrown off of a cage 3 times can be a bit problematic in terms of realism and authenticity, but that doesn't matter because this is a computer game. Next, singles Hell in the Cell, 2 of 3 falls. So again, stipulation, 2 of 3 falls. Iron Man hardcore, again, that means falls count anywhere, no DQ. Iron Man match, 60 minutes. Have some fun with that one. Singles Iron Man submission match. I've never done that before, but I've just thought, do you know what? This year, I think I'm going to do it. Probably in my WCW mode with Sting and Bret Hart. I think that's going to be what I do, because Sting and Bret Hart in that mode is awesome to me. I think that a submission match makes sense between those two, obviously. I think that you would have this with people like Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit. Yeah, I said his name. And yes, he's on my universe mode. You would do it with any submission expert. It's as simple as that. Even Ric Flair can obviously have these style matches, but I wouldn't be giving Hulk Hogan them anytime soon. Single submission with no DQ. Just like that. Just a bit of a different match type for you. Then you've got singles 2 out of 3 falls, so that's just a straight up singles 2 out of 3. So that DQ is set as on there. That's a straight match, not a hardcore in any way. There's a single 30-minute time limit. So this is more of an old school type again. There's also the 60-minute time limit just below that one. They're both the same. You know, you can't cheat, you can't use chairs, etc, etc, but there's a 60-minute and 30-minute time limit. These are old school match types. WCW used to set most of their matches on a time limit, even though the matches never got anywhere near the time limit. It was just a stipulation that people used to add to make the match slightly more interesting, but in hindsight it was pointless and they never should have done it. Apart from Ric Flair's, because he actually wrestled for 60 minutes with Harley Race, whether it was in a cage or in the ring. When they said it was a 60-minute time limit when Ric Flair was involved, you knew that the Nate was going for the full 60 minutes. Now, singles 60-minute Iron Man, again, that's the generic Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels 60-minute Iron Man match. Tag team hardcore 2 out of 3. So again, this is a normal tag team match firstly, but it's hardcore rules. 2 out of 3 falls. I use it all the time. The Dudley Boys will be using that a lot. Tag team 2 of 3, so that's obviously without the hardcore element. No falls count anywhere. No DQs obviously on for that one. Tag team 3-way Iron Man. I can't wait to try this now that Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys, and I've got a decent set of Dudley Boys on the game. I am looking forward to this. I'm actually shocked that WWE2k didn't put the Dudley Boys on, knowing that they were going to have the very match type that they helped to create and make popular. It didn't really make sense to me that they did that, but hey ho. Here we are. So the Iron Man, again, the matches always went on for a long time anyway, whether it was in a ladder match, whether it was a straight up TLC, or whether it was a hardcore, whatever match type it was, they always go for a while because there's so many teams. So I just figured, why not have an Iron Man element to it? Now, Tornado Tag Elimination match. Straight up, simple as it is. I love these matches. I play them all the time. It's just a straight beat fest. There is no DQ because of DQ is set on this because it's a tag team match. So this one is like a straight up tag team tornado tag elimination, so no use of chairs, please. Now, tag team Hell in the Cell, tornado tag Hell in the Cell Iron Man, and you can hear in my voice that's why I set it as TT rather than tornado tag. It helps me differentiate and understand the difference between a tag team and the tornado tag. So the Hell in the Cell Iron Man, again, self-explanatory there. That's a really good match. You should try it. Then you've got Tornado Tag Iron Man, so that's obviously minus the Hell in the Cell. Again, another good match type to do, just because you can make the spots last so much longer with 4 guys wrestling. And also, you don't need to change character as much. This year I'm going to be changing my character a lot in match, so that I can make the matches more realistic and last longer. But with these match types, you don't really need to do that as much, because ultimately you've got 4 of you, and you can just go run up to your partner and kick them out without them needing to kick out themselves. So 3-man tag team elimination. Again, self-explanatory. I usually use this in WCW in my main events for Monday Nitro. Most notably, I'll have like the NWO versus the 4 Horsemen, or the NWO versus any WCW team, whichever one I want to pick. I love that match. It's one of my favourite match types. 3-man tornado tag hardcore elimination. Again, this is a really fun, destructive, completely disorganized, chaotic mess of a match, but it's a lot of fun. You will have fun playing that. Hardcore rules, falls count anywhere, tornado tag team, and it's elimination. It's just so many. It's a stipulation fest, but it's a lot of fun. You should try that one. Again, the 3-man tornado hardcore 2 out of 3 falls is another one that I love, especially with my NWO feud. It works perfectly. I love it. 3-way elimination is obviously a singles 3-way match, triple threat elimination, but there's no DQ because I can't change it, which is a shame. But I'm going to try not to use weapons. Hopefully the AI won't try and use weapons as well when I don't, but I'm sure that will happen eventually. Now, I mentioned about First Blood, so here's one of my First Blood stipulation matches, a 3-way elimination First Blood match. They're a lot of fun. 4-ways are equally as fun with this setting, but it's a rarity to use, but it's fun when you use it, so use it sparingly and you'll find full enjoyment out of that match type. 3-way hardcore 2 of 3 falls, standard 3-way hardcore 2 out of 3. This is almost there are title matches I'm sure that have happened in the Attitude Era that would fit this stipulation, most notably between like Stone Cold Kane and The Undertaker. I imagine those were of this sort of ilk. Maybe not the 2 out of 3 falls. That's mixing the 3 stages of hell kind of matchup, which should be on this game, by the way, as a match type, but it's not. We won't go into that. Anyway, 20 minutes in already. I'm so sorry. 3-way Hell in the Cell 2 out of 3 falls match. Again, I think that one is self-explanatory. A 3-way tag hardcore elimination match, that means. So that's obviously the tornado tag, the 3-way tornado tag, and then just Falls count anywhere, anything goes, hardcore rules, elimination. Fun. I can't wait to play that one. Three-way tag, hardcore 2 of 3. It's the same as the above, but obviously instead of elimination 2 out of 3, you'll see the trend that I love those two match types. 2 of 3 falls, elimination rules. I love them. 4-man tag, elimination. This is getting closer now. This is the closest we can actually be to the Survivor Series tag team elimination matches. So 4-man tag elimination straight up. Unfortunately, it's got... Oh, there is DQ set on that one because it's a tag. Sorry, I keep forgetting. But there's DQ on tag matches. Remember that. Makes it a lot easier, a lot more fun. 4-way cage, 2 out of 3 falls match. Again, self-explanatory. There is no escaping the cage with these matches. Always has to be pin and submission only. 4-way elimination match. That's just your straight up 4 guys fatal 4-way. Unfortunately, there isn't DQ, which is a shame. But I wonder if actually there is a way of doing it by... And maybe I'll check straight after this to see if there's a way of getting that DQ setting on, but also having elimination settings. I'm sure there is a way around it, but we'll have a look later. 4-way hardcore elimination. Again, no count, no falls count anywhere. Sorry, hardcore and then elimination stipulation. Then you've got a hardcore 2 out of 3 falls. Again, another fun match types. 4-way Iron Man match. Can't wait to play this. The idea of it being no DQ kind of plays into the Iron Man to me. I'd rather it be DQ set on, because I just think that it makes the game harder and it's more challenging, but also more realistic. And it means you've got to think more about the spots that you use. There's nothing easier than grabbing a chair, whacking it over your opponent 15 times, and then just pinning them. And I don't like that. I like to use the chair, but sparingly. I like to use weapons, but very sparingly, unless, of course, it's a hardcore match. So, 4-way Iron Man submission match. That's one that I've added this year. I'm really interested in how hard that's going to be, because it's not falls count anywhere. It can only happen in the ring. So that one's going to be a really fun one. I assume that these are going to be more fun by the end of the 60 minutes, because at that point everyone's going to be dead on their feet. They're going to be lying on the floor for 10 minutes. It should give you the opportunity to submit somebody quite quickly towards the end of the Iron Man, making it a lot more fun. 4-way tag, hardcore elimination. Again, falls count anywhere, anything goes, elimination, 4-way tag. Easy. That's one that I would love. That's like the NWO peed everybody off in WCW. The Four Horsemen challenged them at a pay-per-view. Something like, sold out kind of pay-per-view. Great American Bash, Road Wild style pay-per-view, whatever one you use. So that's great. I use that. That's a wonderful match. And it's really long. That's what I love about it. It's a long match. It lasts for ages. You enjoy it. You get the most out of it. 4-way tag, hardcore, 2 out of 3. So the same as above, 2 of 3. Stipulation added. 4-way tag, Iron Man. Again, I can't wait for this one. This one just seems really fun to me. Just the idea that you may actually only get one pinfall in the hour makes it more fun to me and challenging. A 5-way hardcore elimination. Now, this is specifically for my hardcore title in WWE. On my universe mode, Hardcore Holly, Crash Holly, Al Snow, the Big Boss Man, the Godfather, etc., etc. Whichever ones you want out of those guys, you throw them in the 5-way hardcore elimination and just have yourself a blast. That's probably also a great match type for multiplayer if you've got your friends around and all that stuff. So, takes me back to being a kid when I used to play with my mates on WE Attitude and No Mercy. 6-way hardcore elimination, the same as before, but again, 6 guys instead of 5. The more the merrier. And then you've got the 6-way hardcore 2 out of 3 falls match. Another just to switch on the stipulation. I'm going to enjoy that one. That one's going to be more of a kind of title match. Rather than just the hardcore title, I'll probably end up using that at a big pay-per-view. Maybe the one before WrestleMania. just a pay-per-view that you need a really good main event, something fun that just adds a completely different take on the regular singles titles matches that people always say they love to have. Then 8-way elimination. This was my favourite match type last year. It is an absolute slugfest. You just take so long going through 8 wrestlers and pinning them all the way down to the winner. It is so much fun, and it is so... I don't even know the word. It's so satisfying to get to the end and win that match through 7 other opponents, because you just feel like you've actually achieved something in life. It's like a goal. It's a bucket list thing. Then finally, we've got the 8-way Iron Man match, no countouts. So obviously the difference here between a normal Iron Man is that I just was thinking in my head, realistically, 8 men in an Iron Man match, the referee is not going to have time to pin you because he's going to be counting somebody out every single second of a whole hour. So I just took the no count out stipulation and threw that in there just to make it more realistic, so that you don't have to put up with a whiny ref counting to 10 and the stupid fans, yes, I called them stupid, also counting to 10 the whole time for 60 minutes. That would do my head in. That is the definition of the start of insanity to me. So that's it. That is my match types. There's loads there. I actually think that there's 45 match types there. I assume that they've given me 50. But what I wanted to check now is just this idea that I mentioned earlier. So just, you know what, I'm just going to go with the first 4 guys. I'm not going to play the match. I'm just doing this to see the stipulation. So we've confirmed the 4. Then we go to match options, custom match rules. See? Okay, there's no way around it, but there you go. That's the illustration of what I was talking about earlier. There is no way of setting the DQ on for any match that's above a singles match. Tag matches, you can set it, as I said before, but for a 4-way, 5-way, 6-way, 3-way, 8-way, whatever amount of wrestlers you've got in a singles setting, you cannot set DQ on those matches, which is such a shame, because you can set the rope break, you can set the ring out. You can't even set, it's either no count or no exiting, so obviously the game knows that you're going to be counting everybody out all the time. So you can have elimination on or off, false count anywhere, blah blah blah. Anyway, thank you for watching. I've got one more thing to announce before I leave today. I'm going to do another video later, but that isn't the announcement. The announcement is that in Community Creations, I have finally done it. Top right corner, I am over 20,000 download mark. Thank you so much for every single one of you. I am thankful. I really am. Oh, by the way, I love that the patch added the fade around, and they've thickened the border as well around the select box. So that big red box now, it's very obvious what you're selecting. By the way, to the 11 people who've downloaded the new D-Lo, thank you. I recommend that you go and download him. As you can see, my former D-Lo Brown was nowhere near as good as that. So definitely download that. It will complete your Nation of Domination pack. I've literally given you all of the characters myself this year. I don't think I've ever done that before, but Farouk's doing really well. D-Lo's he started well. Paul Orndorff looks great in my opinion, so download him as well. And as you can see, there's others that are doing alright too. So thank you. And I'm just going to show you, I'm just going to quickly click through everything I'm doing, pause it, have a look at your heart's content. This is all my content and how it's doing at the moment. I love showing you guys because I want to create more, and if you let me know what to create, I will create it. Just tell me what you need. You can see the slots that I've got available. What I would love to do, and what I'm thinking of doing next, I've got 2 shows available, and that means 2 arenas that I can add in. And this is the reason that I like the fact that shows and arenas are separated. I know people get annoyed at it, but I like it because it means I can add shows that I wouldn't normally add to my arena. For example, I might have an arena that I don't want to share in the download, but it may actually be a really cool show that I've put together, and so I can throw it in here instead. So it essentially doubles up the capacity for arena downloads in the game. If I wanted to, I could have a completely different set of shows to the arenas that I offer. And what that means is simply that I could have 40 arenas on the game in community creations. That's a little workaround. I know people complain about it, but I actually am a lover of that kind of style. Finally, movesets. They're doing quite well now. They've started to pick up. Eddie Guerrero's doing well. Macho Man's started being downloaded, which is great because I value all of these movesets, but Macho Man's a good one. Goldberg's taken off, man. Everybody loves that. Thank you for downloading that one. Ric Flair I love, and that's had a couple of downloads in the last day, so I'm hoping. And again, all the others are just slowly progressing. Sting, that is one of the, if that's not the best moveset, I don't know what it is. That is, I mean, it's really difficult because they're all great wrestlers. They've all got great movesets, or most of them anyway. But Sting, Ric Flair, and Savage are like my favourite three match types. They're my favourite movesets. Goldberg has got a great moveset. I've changed it to give him powerful moves and actually closer to the WCW NW match types, but I am going to create a few more matches. I think there's a couple of ECW stipulation matches that I want to throw in. Also, the cage types that I showed you, I'm also going to be making an ECW cage match and a WWE cage match so that each universe mode gets their own style cage match. Saves me the time of doing it manually every time I'm in the game. But thank you so much. I am X Harper and you have been awesome. And until next time, what?